No. Already we already put in the legal and regulatory framework. So we're now engaging stakeholders. We have to get OMCs to sign up on the open tender system agreement. We also now to start engaging with suppliers, take a decision as to running the first OTS, but also recognize there have been imports coming in privately. So we have to work on a proper transition plan. So that is what we are actually discussing today with the industry on how do we then transition so that then we ensure that it's seamless. But the legal framework is already in place. The OTS agreement is ready, has been negotiated with the industry. So we're now just looking at a transition plan. Yeah, I think in terms of timelines, we are looking to ensure that we roll this out before the end of the year. In terms of the school program, there is an EOI put out by the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum through the State Department of Petroleum, looking for financial institutions, looking for LPG oil marketing companies to partner with the government in terms of rollout of the LPG for schools program. We've been able to work on a schematic as the regulator. We, as I've said, we re-looked at the LPG regulations 2019. Now we have revised regulations of 2025 that have introduced licensing of installers, licensing of LPG cylinder manufacturers, which were not or provided for in the legal notice 100 of 2019. This now sets the stage for us to be able to license manufacturers, be able to license installers the way we do for electricity to ensure that the quality of workmanship at the school, because one of the biggest challenges and the most emotive issues with people is their health and their children. So we don't want, as a regulator, because our mandate is technical regulation, to ensure that the installations that are going to be put in our schools are, one, up to technical standards. We're able also to educate, working with the LPG OMCs to educate the teachers, educate the students to ensure they know what the do's and don'ts with respect to LPG are. But this is a very positive program. In our country, we see a lot of children in the rural areas who have to miss class because they have to go and collect firewood, or it's the turn of their class to go and collect firewood. They now will have the opportunity to be able to stay more in class. For those who are cooking, the health hazards that they are cooking in the kitchens, the respiratory diseases, that will then go. Also the downtime when it comes to, for instance, breakfast. For those of us who went to boarding schools, where the cooks have to wake up at 4 a.m. to start preparing breakfast for students at 6 by lighting the boilers. This will be a plug-and-play system. But more importantly, economically, it will be cheaper for the schools because when you're burning biomass, it has to burn all the way to the end. It has to combust to the end. But for LPG, you'll be able to switch it on, cook, and switch it off. Our kitchens in our schools will be cleaner. Our staff working in the schools will be healthier from a respiratory standpoint. Kids will be able then to get their meals cooked, not smelling of smoke. Those of us, again, who went to boarding schools, you have stories of paraffin, chakula inanuka moshi. Then we'll have also students who are willing and happy to learn. So this is a very impactful program, and we want to be able to put this out to the public, for the public to understand its importance, for the students to understand the importance, the teachers to understand the importance, their parents, and for the industry to partner with the government to ensure that this very important program for the country is a success. We had a challenge as a country because sometimes you put a cylinder into the market because it is the responsibility of the brand owner. The way the legal notice is structured, it's a responsibility of the brand owner to take care of the cylinder. You as a consumer, what you pay is a cylinder deposit. You don't essentially buy the cylinder. And the reason for that is that the integrity of that cylinder lies with the brand owner. So as the regulator, we hold the brand owner responsible for that cylinder. But because of some of the challenges you see with illegal refilling, the brand owner sometimes says, this cylinder, yes, it is mine. I brought it into the market. I manufactured it. I filled it once. It went to the market and it has never come back to me. But when there's an incident, then you cannot be able to trace it to who filled it last. So it's an issue of responsibility. But when you put in technology, we'll be able to follow and track this cylinder from when was it manufactured, by which manufacturer. Now we'll be licensing manufacturers. When was it last filled, by which LPG oil marketing company. When was it last revalidated? Because cylinders must be validated to ensure that there's cylinder integrity, to ensure that it's safe. That is the responsibility of the brand owner of the cylinder. So we want to know when was this cylinder last revalidated, because a lot of times you see cylinders in the market that clearly have dents, that have bruises, that may be leaking, but that responsibility is of the brand owner. For us as the regulators, our responsibility to ensure that the standards are actually kept. So when we have that tech in place, we'll be able to track this cylinder from when it was manufactured to the home that it's in. So if there's an issue anywhere in the value chain, we're able then to get real-time information. It is bad, and I think it's more of a culture issue and a practice issue for all of us as Kenyans. It's not a finger pointing between the multinationals or the local players. It is problem that we have as Kenyans that we need to deal with. As they say in English, cheap is expensive. So we need to be able to ensure that first we protect the safety, but we are working quite hard with all the players to ensure that we rid the country of this menace. And as I've said, the pie is big enough for everybody to be able to benefit in the value chain.